Every step I took from the day I was born brought me right here, and I faltered, and I failed, and I stumbled. But I ascended, and I rejoiced, and I celebrated, and all of it informs that. So I am still mentored to this day. I've been mentored by Michael Austin for 37 years. And that all of that informs it. Watching how, Old Dirty Bastard was the first person to ask me to be a manager. This defined me for the next 3 decades of my life. The RZA was the first person to ask me to be a general manager. I did it 2 more times after him. Method Man was the first person to call me family. All of these things inform the person that I am, and all of it runs through the thread of everything that I do in my life, including my programs. They were very much about peace. Positive energy, what is it? Positive, God, I forgot what it is. Thank you. Activates constant elevation. Each one teach one. I mean, these were all lessons that I learned from hip hop and from Wu Tang about going in and lifting somebody up.
I want to make sure that we have some meat of a conversation and that we can actually come back full circle and walk away with an awareness around mental health in our communities and the normalization around mental health, but also an awareness so we can have these conversations back at home. Saadiq, what is the impact on a community when mental health issues goes unreconciled, right? What is the impact from your perspective as a social worker? What is that impact on the family, right? And then also I look at it from the perspective of how many Black men goes without addressing mental or social issues and the impact it has on Black women. So I just really want to touch on that a little bit.
Just to keep it 100, man, you just have a community full of people crashing out. You know what I mean? If you have people that are moving throughout the community with untreated and undiagnosed mental health disorders, it really creates an unsafe environment for everybody. You know what I mean? If the family gets worn out because they lack of understanding and the lack of psychoeducation. So, usually somebody winds up getting put out and then they're out in the street and then, they become they start to become high medicated, as they call it, high medicated users. They spend a lot of time cycling in and out of emergency rooms, in psych wards, which costs are astronomical. And then they go back and they put on different cocktails of medications that have, all sorts of side effects, you know what I mean? And, it also would happen, let's be 1,000, it's like people wind up going to jail. The prison system is the largest healthcare provider in the United States, and they make a lot of money when they incarcerate people with mental health disorders, you know what I mean? It's like they get to push the pills, you know what I mean? And that's all what it really is just pushing a psychopharm. And you think about some of our young people that are in the community that are what they call as high drivers of crime. They tend to have untreated trauma. They've experienced adverse childhood experiences, and what we say, hurt people, right? And if you live in a house where it ain't safe, you go out in the street and you bring all that with you in the streets, So I think we need to really start to, for me, myself, as a clinical social worker, I try to make sure that our people aren't priced out of healthcare. You know what I mean? I make it affordable so that folks can get it. I mean, there's people that I work with now just on a pro bono basis, because I feel like for me, it's more important that you get access to treatment and you're healthy. I mean, if there's one healthy person in the community, that's one less person that's either going to jail or doing damage to themselves or terrorizing the community. So I think it's important to make sure that our people get access to affordable and quality health care from people that look like them.
Thank you. Are you treating your babies right? Show and prove, right? So one of the things that came up for me was there was lack of tools, right? And one note for anyone that's a 5% here, the father, Clarence 13X, father-in-law, was also sent to a mental institution. Right? He was also sent to a mental institution because a black man walking around New York City saying the black man of God gotta be crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say is we are fashioning our tools as we sail this boat right now. And we have to upgrade our lessons. We have to upgrade our consciousness. If you have been quoting the same lesson for 25 years, 30 years, and have not changed, you're not living mathematics.
Hey.
Now stand on that.
So what I don't want to do here is be guilty of presentism. You know what presentism
Indeed.
is? It is the phenomenon where we subject things that happened in the past to today's moral standards. Mm-hmm. There was so much that we didn't know.
Absolutely.
There was language that we didn't have.
Absolutely.
I absolutely didn't know. I didn't have the language. I didn't see it. I think there were so many things that happened back in the day across the spectrum of behavior, of dysfunction, of mental illness, of substance abuse. I mean, I used to buy Asan alcohol before he did interviews. He insisted on being almost drunk to do an interview. Today, that would be highly problematic, and it was then. I just didn't know. I was completely ignorant to it. He was like, Sophie, go get me a this, go get me a that. I got it for him. There's no question that I did. I wasn't thinking about the deeply deleterious impact that that would have on his health, on his physical health, and on his mental health. I didn't know better. So I think it's unfair, Riza, at the service, what he says about everybody saying, that's just dirty, he's just high. I mean, I think even to this day, some of us have those conversations. Oh, he's just doing this, she's just doing that. But his line about don't ever take it as a joke because the Most High will show you how dead-ass serious that can be. So I wish that I had the wherewithal. I wish that I was more knowledgeable about what was going on with him, but I didn't. And I wasn't there to support him in the way that he so clearly needed. I just wasn't. I don't know who else was, but I know that I wasn't there in the way that I wish that I could have been.
Thank you for that.